Good morning. It's good to see you, and I'm glad you're here, and I hope you're glad you're here today. And man, what a great way to start a service. Amen. And we could all echo that. In fact, next week, Sean, we're going to sing that as a congregation. So I hope you were listening. There's going to be there's a pop test next week. Yeah. So you've got a bulletin. There's a lot of announcements. You can kind of scroll through them and see. Don't forget tonight at 6, our youth will be sharing about their camp and super summer experiences. And as we do, we want to make you aware. See this? Somebody said, "What are you doing? Is that how long you're going to preach today?" I'm like, no, it's not. But anyway, our kids will be sharing tonight, and I told them, I said, you got 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Drake, how long? 3, right? And so you got 3 minutes. If they go over, we start, I don't know, we'll punish them somehow. Anyway, we'll make them sing a solo if they're over 3 minutes. All right, is that fair? Thanks. And so anyway, they'll be sharing, and so we want you to come be a part of that. Look, man, these last 2 big weeks have been just a whirlwind for some of our kids being at both camp and then turn around and be at Super Summer. I know it has been for Hayden. I looked at him at the end of camp week, and he looked weary. He got about 3 days, and then he had to go to Super Summer. And I looked at him at the end of Super Summer week, and he looked weary. But he told me, he said, I slept like 40 hours in 1 day, so he's good to go. And but anyway, he'll be leading tonight, or you will be leading tonight. Come be a part of that. It's been an awesome 2 weeks for our students. Don't forget also, Rita Sweat tickets are on sale. You can see Joanne, Louita, or Marcia May if you'd like to purchase tickets. Tickets are $25, and that date is over in September. If you have any questions, you can ask them about that. Also, don't forget, 2 weeks from now, on July the 28th, after the morning worship service, we're going to have a spaghetti luncheon and an OCC fundraiser. It's donations only, but you'll have chicken spaghetti, traditional spaghetti, green beans, salad, dessert, and drink. Is that right? And it's donation only. We invite you all to come, all to stay. All the money goes to OCC shipping. You can see the other announcements there. Just don't forget those. This week, our youth will meet from 6 to 8. They'll meet in the back. Our children are still not meeting yet. They'll start in about 2 weeks when school starts back. They'll start coming back. And then our adults will meet this week as well. We're going to go to the Lord in prayer, and then Miss Shawn is going to come back and continue to lead us in worship. And as we go to pray, I'm going to ask Mr. Lane True, if you will, to open us in prayer today.
Of God, and we stand amazed in the presence. It's page 547 in your hymnal, and we'll sing the first, third, and fourth verses.
How wonderful
our offertory hymn. You'll stand with us and we'll sing the first and third verses. 27.
Pray that you just be with us in the service this morning, Lord. Your spirit may move freely among us. And Lord, as we take up the offer this morning, we pray that you give back to you the things that you've given to us. And forgive us when we fail you. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen.
Was that him growling? Yeah, somebody was growling. Could have been Charlotte. Hey, turning your Bibles this morning to the book of Mark, chapter 9. We're finally able to get back in the book of Mark, and I'm so excited about that. And there's a lot of excitement about moving on through the book of Mark. And when you get into Mark 9, there's a lot of, you have his transfiguration, and you have him casting out demons. And then where we begin today is there in verse 30. And we're gonna get there in a minute, but what world event are we getting ready for? Does anybody remember? The Olympics, right? I'm so glad nobody said like last night's events. Okay, I want to focus on good. Okay, but yeah, we're getting ready for the Olympics, where we're going to decide, like we do every 4 years in the summer, who is the greatest, who's the best, who's going to win the gold, and who's going to win multiple gold, and who's not, and who's going to win silver and bronze, and who's not going to medal at all, right? And these athletes, they've been training for years and years and decades of years for this one moment. Some of them only get to do their event just for a short amount of time. Can you imagine training for 4 years or 8 years or decades, that all of a sudden all your training culminates in a 2.5 minute floor routine or a balance beam? Look, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that would not be my category. All right, it's like, get up on that horse and walk, don't fall off. There's trouble there. I know y'all are thinking, yeah, he's definitely a gymnast though. I mean, like the rings, right? The rings. Anyway, and so you have all these events. I enjoy certain events. I always enjoyed when they had USA softball was part of it. And now they took it away, and they've added it back. And like the only time I cared about the basketball was '92 when they had the Dream Team. Everybody else has kind of failed in comparison. I love watching the track and field events, the pole vault. You know, right here locally, we got Sam Kendrick from Oxford area, and it's all this excitement, who we're cheering for, and there's several others, I think, from the Lafayette County or that area this year who qualified and will be going, and so I thought about, there's a lot of debate in basketball about who the greatest is. It's Michael. Okay, let me just, you don't expect your preacher to lie to you. I'll just tell you, Michael Jordan is the greatest. Okay, mark it down, write it down. Let's move on from this debate. Who is the greatest quarterback of all time? Who was the greatest receiver? Who was the greatest hitter of all time? Who is the greatest? And there's all these debates. And when you get to the world stage, all of a sudden, who's the greatest person in a floor routine or all that? Let me ask you a question. I just picked one event, okay, because it's easier on the mind. How many of you know who the greatest long jumper of all time is? Anybody? No. This person has worked for years so that they could become the greatest long jumper, and not a single person knows their name. We're going to come back to that thought in a minute. But I've asked Drake to help me. Drake, would you come up here just for a moment? Everybody cheer Drake on like it's Olympics. USA! USA! Come on, Drake. So you can stop right there for now. Just turn and look at everybody. Drake's like, I don't want to help you. I'm like, okay.
A lot of people, man.
A lot of people just wave, smile. I told him to stand up here and look pretty, okay? And Drake is great to help me. But back when the long jump started, Drake, you may not have known this, it was a standing long jump. In other words, there was no running and taking off. It was you stood with your feet somewhat apart, and you would, I guess, swing your arms, get a little momentum going, right? And you would jump as far as you could. All right? And because I don't remember the guy's name, I wrote it down. But a record stood for years. I'm not going to tell you who that was because I didn't write that down. But I do know who the record holder. How far do you think the standing long jump is? Just guess. You ain't got to be right. Whoa. Now remember, they ain't running. They just jumping. I heard 11. I heard 16. 3.5. So in 2015, at the NFL Combine, a guy named Byron Jones set the world record for the standing long jump. And that record is 12 foot 3 inches. Now, I want to give you a visual of what that looks like. So, Drake, I'm going to put you right here, and I'm going to go stand right here. This is 12 foot 3 inches right here. One jump, not triple jump, not running jump, this is one single jump from Drake to me. Now, I know some of you are athletes, right? Some of you were athletes, and some of you were mathletes, and that's okay too. But how many of you think that today you could jump from Drake to myself? Is there anybody here who wants to attempt it? It's only 12 foot 3 inches. Anybody? Okay. All right. Well, in the mid-1900s, they changed the Olympic event where it was no longer the standing long jump. It was the running long jump, and you could, I guess, run as far as you wanted to, Drake, but you only got one jump. It ain't the triple jump. Now, how far do you think the world record of that is? 16 feet, all right? 20 feet. Do I hear 25 feet? Anybody want to go 25? I got 25. No, I got 26. 26. Oh, I got a hand. We got 26. We got a 27? 35. All right. I think you're going to be a little high. But here we go. So in 1991, on August the 30th, notice my phone's backwards because I did Google it. But August the 30th, 1991, Mike Powell of the United States set the running long jump record. You ready for this? 29 feet, 4 1/4 inches. 29 feet, 4 1/4 inches. Now, to give you a visual representation, that's going to be from Drake I measured this, and Tommy helped me, so you know it's right. From Drake to right here, the middle of that second pew where Matthew sits, who is now he didn't agree to help, but he's there, to the middle of this arm of this pew, 29 feet, 4 1/4 inches, one jump. I want to know what kind of tailwind he had, Chip. He had to be up there, didn't he? Now, nobody took me on the 12.3. Do I have anybody that wants to go to 29, 4 1/2? I mean, you ain't got to go 30. You ain't got to go 29 and 5. Anybody want 29 and 4 1/2? No takers, right? But can you see how this is an amazing record? One jump, 29 feet. That record was set in 91, so if you do math, that is almost 33 years that record has stood. Right? Long way, Drake. Almost can't see you over there. You're a long way off. But he is considered, Mike Powell is considered the greatest long jumper ever because of this feat. Pretty amazing, right? All right, Drake, I appreciate it. Your gift card's in the mail, son. It's gonna be on cardboard and it says gift card. It's probably not going to be spelled right. You say, well, what's the purpose of this? Because what's going to happen in our text today are the disciples are going to have this discussion about who the greatest is. Now, it's not qualified as who's the greatest runner. John settled that when Jesus was buried and put in the tomb, and Peter and John raced to the tomb that morning, and John is quick to record the disciple whom Jesus loved arrived first. In other words, in all perpetuity now, everybody knows that Peter was slower than John. All right, so not who's the greatest runner, the greatest hurdler, the greatest long jumper, the greatest athlete, none of that. They want to know who is the greatest disciple. And so we're going to begin reading there in verse 30. And I want you to read with me. And it says there, and they departed from there, and they passed through Galilee. And he would not that any man should know it. He wanted to keep it quiet. And he taught his disciples and said unto them, the Son of Man is delivered unto the hands of men, that they shall kill him, and after that he is killed, he shall rise the third day. But they did not understand what he was saying, and they were afraid to really ask him what it meant. And he came to Capernaum, and being in the house, he asked them, what was it that you disputed among yourselves along the way? But they didn't hold their peace, for along the way they had argued among themselves about who should be the greatest. And he sat down, and he called the 12, and he said to them, if any man desire to be first, or the greatest, the same shall be last or least of all, and servant of all. And he took a child, and he set him in the midst of them, and when he had taken him in his arms, he said unto them, whosoever shall receive one of such children in my name receives me, and who shall receive me receives not only me, but him that sent me, or the Father. So they're going along the way, and you know how precocious guys can be, right? Not just when they're little, they grow up to be precocious men. They just kind of jab each other and talk smack to each other. And I was playing a game with Stephen yesterday and was racing cars, and I'm terrible at racing cars on video games. Like, if there's anything that can be hit, I hit it. But I'm over there going, man, why are you so slow? Why are you so far behind? Why can't you catch up? Why are you terrible? Why you drive like your mama, son? Why? And he's like, you realize I've passed you 3 times. I'm like, we don't talk of such nonsense here. Right? But we have this that's just who we are. So you can just remember the disciples are just that. They're ordinary people who God is called to do extraordinary things. They're just like me and you. Some of them were fishermen. Can you imagine some of the stories they told? Can you imagine some of the tales they told? I ain't saying they was liars. I'm just saying they were fishermen. Okay, just go with me. You say, ain't that the same? That's for you to determine. What I'm just saying is, there's this idea that guys are going to be guys, okay? And so along the way, they just begin to discuss, well, who's going to be the greatest? I don't think Judas really entered that discussion because he already knew. But the others were discussing who's going to be the greatest. And Jesus didn't really reprimand them along the road. He didn't stop along the way and go, what are y'all talking about? You know, it's like you do when you and your sister are fighting, you and your brother fighting on the road. And your dad turns around and is like, do I need to pull this car over? Do I need to stop? Do I need to turn around and go back to the house? Do I need to pull off my belt? Jesus didn't go there with them. And I want you to get that. I mean, can you imagine? Do I need to turn y'all around and walk y'all back? Do y'all need a get-along shirt? I'm just wondering. But Jesus doesn't do that at all in this moment. Jesus lets them argue it out. Dispute it out. And then when they get to where they're going, then Jesus says, look back at your text. Jesus says there, and he came to Capernaum, and being in the house, he asked them. He finally got where he was going. He's like, all right, guys, what's the problem? What are y'all discussing? What y'all disputing about? What you arguing about? And in verse 34, I love the way it says it. In the King James it says, but they held their peace. In other words, they didn't want to tell him. You ever notice when you get on to your kids, they get quiet? It's like, we ain't going to tell you. We don't want you to know. We ain't going to say. Oh, yeah, you are. It's big enough to argue about. You finna tell me what you're arguing about. I mean, all of a sudden, the sworn enemies of siblings become like, we keeping secrets together now, right? It says they held their peace, For along the way they had disputed among themselves who should be the greatest. They knew that it was a dumb argument. They had it anyway. They knew there was no point, man. They just discussing it. But when Jesus was like, what are y'all arguing about? No. Jesus already knew. So he sat down and he called the 12. And he said to them, if any man desires to be first or greatest, the same should be last or least. There's two principles. I know I normally give you three. There's two principles at work here. The first is the greatest is the one who has the most athletic prowess. No. The greatest is the one who has the most New Testament books. No. The greatest is the one who has the most humility. Humility. We don't really champion humility in today's world, do we? I mean, how many times do you see them put the camera on a star athlete in the locker room and he talks about how great everybody else is? It happens. But usually they're like, man, you had a great performance. Tell me about your performance today. And all of a sudden, here comes about 7 sentences that all begin with the word I. Well, I was open, or I was running the routes perfect, or I blew by my guy all day, or I made him look like he was stuck in molasses. I. There's not much humility in that, let me tell you, but Jesus says, if you're going to be the greatest, you've got to learn that it ain't about you, that it's not about how great you are, it's not about what great things you do, it's not about any of that. If you're going to be the greatest, you've got to be the least. You've got to be humble. You've got to be able to debase yourself. I think sometimes we lose sight of that, even in the Christian community, is because we begin to look at guys. I know as pastors, you know, you get around a bunch of pastors and we're all looking at guys on the platform like, man, like we had the opportunity this week at Super Summer to be around Shane Pruitt. And I don't know if you know who Shane Pruitt is. He's the North American Mission Board's director of Gen Send Ministries from Texas. Got a lovely family. And the thing is, like, there's a lot of guys around this world, around the nation, who would love to have the influence or the platform or the following or the insight or whatever of Shane Pruitt. And there's guys who are pastors who long for that. They want the spotlight. They want the conference. They want their pictures on posters. They want to be invited to speak at conferences. The truth of the matter is it's a very small percentage of guys who do. You've got others who say, well, I know I'm starting here, but I want to keep climbing until I'm at First Baptist Church or wherever, or such and such Baptist Church, until I've reached that where I'm respected and all that. And so even among ministers, a lot of times there's this desire to be anything but least, anything but last. We want to be the one recognized. We want to be the one on the stage. We want to be the one on the posters. We want to be the one on the sign out front. We want to be the one on the publications. We want to be the one on the podcast. We want to be the one in all these different things. And so even among pastors, in fact, one of the things consistently said about preachers in today's world is that they've got ego issues, that they all want to be something more than what they are. But it's not just a preacher issue. Because what happens is we see that trickle down to the rest of the congregation where, well, I want to be in charge, or I want to control this, or I want to do it, or I'm only going to do it if it's done my way. I'm going to continue to put myself up. If nobody else will, I'll nominate myself. You remember when you were in school? I mean, I know for some of y'all that's like 2 months ago, right? And for the rest of us, it's been like quite some time. Y'all remember when they'd have like different elections at school? Nobody's going to judge you here except maybe Jill and myself. We'll talk about you when we get home, right, baby? How many of you, just in a moment of honesty, if you don't want to raise your hand, you ain't got to. How many of you ever nominated yourself for something? Anybody? Okay, so here's the thing. There ain't but a couple of us who own up to it. It's either that or a whole lot of you did it and you took me serious when I said you ain't got to raise your hand, right? Here's the thing. Or if you were nominated, you voted for yourself. Anybody ever vote for themselves? Yeah, more of you voted for yourself than nominated. But if you didn't nominate yourself, you might not have got on the ballot, right? And so here you are. You nominate yourself. You vote yourself. Jill and I don't get to talk much today, you know. But here's the thing, and I want you to know it. Maybe that's what scared you off from telling the truth. I don't know. Here's the thing, right? You can't keep putting yourself up there if you're going to be the greatest, because Jesus says the greatest is the one who is last or least. He's the one who doesn't seek glory. He doesn't seek praise. He doesn't seek honor. He doesn't seek attention. He doesn't seek all these things. He is simply the guy or the girl or the man or the woman who just humbles himself or herself and just keeps her head down and just does what needs to be done. He goes on, the second principle is not only are they the one with the most humility, they're the one, you ready? Look back at your text. It says they must be last of all, or least of all, and they should be servant of all. So it's not just about being humble, but it's about doing the things that need to be done that don't always get your name in the paper. It's the servant of all. Sometimes we look around, guys, and we say to ourselves, well, there's a need, and I can meet it, and nobody will ever know. But it's not just the servant of some. Sometimes our service begins to be, well, there's Joe. Joe's the president of the bank. And so if I can help him, then down the road, maybe he can help me. Or there's Tom. Tom is a great guy. But Tom is a just this figure in our community, and man, if I can help Tom, then maybe it'll get me a little bit of clout in the community as well. See, we're serving, but we're not serving all. We're serving the ones who we think can serve us later. That's not what Jesus says. Jesus doesn't say serve those when there's a kickback to yourself. If you're going to be great, serve those whom it's beneficial to serve. That's not what he says. He also doesn't say serve those who only look and act and smell like you. Right? We sometimes are selected not based upon what we get back, but how it makes us look. We're going to serve somebody, but we don't want to get our hands dirty. Right? We don't want to get dirt on our suit, or we don't get dirt on our hands, or we don't want to get dirt on our pants, or we don't want to get dirt on our shoes. And so we're real selective, not because they can necessarily help us, but because we want to help those people who are like us. They look like us, they talk like us, they sound like us, they dress like us, they smell like us. People will notice. But then there's that third group, and it's the all group. A-L-L. And that group is pretty wide, right? Within that group, you have people who, when you help, there can be benefits. Within that group, there's those who, when you help, they look like, smell like, act like, talk like, dress like you. But then there's that group of people that nobody ever really wants to help. And quite honestly, a lot of times they're probably the most needy because they don't have anything to offer. They don't have anything to pay. They can't refund or kick back some benefit to you. They may be the most needful, but a lot of times they're the least addressed. And it's those folks who are in the awe that chances are the most needy aren't going to look like you. They're not going to go to the places you go, and they're not going to dress like you. And let's be honest, they may be a little dirtier than you and a little smellier than you. But they're encompassed by the word all here in this verse. And Jesus says that if you're going to be great, you got to be the most humble, right? But you've got to be willing to serve everyone. Let me tell you, there's one more group. I said there was 3. There's actually 4. There's the group. You say, are you just making this up? No, it just came to me. There's that group that is most undeserving of help because of maybe what they've done in the past to you or how they've treated you in the past. But they need help. And it may cost you something more than time. It may cost you a pair of work gloves. It may cost you a little bit of sweat. It may cost you a little dirt on your shirt. It may cost you having to exhibit forgiveness. It may cost you having to get hands-on. It may cost you having to have the heart of Jesus. But if you're ever going to be the greatest, Jesus says you got to be most humble. And you got to be willing to serve everyone. I was in a restaurant not too long ago. We were on vacation, so it didn't happen around here. So don't judge our local businesses. But I had gone to the store, and along the way we decided to eat supper. So we went in, and there was a guy who was, I don't know any other really good way to say it, but he just was a needy person. He was homeless. He was dirty. He was filthy. He smelled. His hair was matted. His beard was matted. There was just a lot of things that, upon first glance, you think. And there was a lady at the restaurant who worked there who, when he tried to enter, stopped and stepped into the door and gently, not forcefully, put her hands on him and said, "I'm sorry, you can't come in." And I heard her over telling another waitress that we don't let him in here. And the waitress was, "Well, why not?" "Well, he can't pay. He don't have no way to pay. He's filthy. He makes other people uncomfortable. He really doesn't have anything really to offer us. He's just not welcome here." And in that moment, I thought for a second. I thought, they've probably dealt with him before. Maybe at one time they fed him. Maybe they fed him out the back door. I don't know. But just that thought, guys, that here was a guy, though no shoes, no shirt, no service. He had shirt, and he had shoes, and he had pants. Okay? Key thing here, he just wanted to come in. But because he didn't fit their standard, or because he couldn't give them pay, and you're like, "Well, it's America. Capitalism, baby. You don't pay, you don't eat," right? I get that. But because they could not afford him, he was not welcome. He was not served. Listen, we always need to understand that while businesses have those policies, the people of God cannot. While businesses may say you're not welcome here, the Church of Christ cannot. When the world may say, "Well, you're a little bit less than our standard," the church cannot. When the world says, well, you're a little bit too filthy, the church cannot. When the world says you're a little bit smelly, the church cannot. When the world says, well, you can't give us nothing in return, the church cannot. And we live in a world where there's a lot of churches who would like to take those standards and say, well, you can't come in. Y'all, look, I'm just going to be honest with you. Let me tell you about a guy who goes here. He was a terrible guy. He lied, and he cheated, and he cussed, and he had anger issues. And when he was a kid, he didn't like baths, and he stunk. And that was the days of right guard, and he would try to cover it up. If you spray enough, there's nothing like not getting enough. Right? A lot of anger issues, a lot of language issues, a lot of just hatefulness. And yet, he's your pastor. I'm just telling you, you never know what God's going to do in somebody's life. It's not our position. You say, what does this have to do with service? It has everything to do with service. Because Jesus said, if you're going to be the greatest, you've got to be willing to be the least. And if you're going to be the greatest, you've got to be willing to serve the ones the world doesn't serve. Because through your service and through your welcoming in, it's not about you being the greatest. It's about them hearing about Jesus. And you never know what Jesus is going to do in their lives. For any of you wondering, yes, I now like baths, okay? I don't want y'all to go home like, well, right guard's kind of off the market now. I don't know what we're doing. But I want you to get this. It's our job. We're a hospital for the sick, right? We're a place for the broken. We're a haven for the helpless. We're a place for the ones who are hopeless, full of despair, who are wondering if this presidential thing is going to make any difference, and us having the answer that Jesus is really the only one that can make a difference. We are the ones who are supposed to open the doors to those who are covered with the filth of the world and bring them in and talk to them about Jesus. And it ain't about me being the greatest pastor, or me being the greatest believer, or you being the greatest believer, or us being the greatest church. But at the end of the day, whether I'm the greatest or not, I want Jesus to be proud of me. I never will forget last story I'm going to tell, maybe, this morning, in the next 2 minutes and a half. I never will forget. I've never been long-legged. Okay? I'm just going to start there. I'm still not. I kind of felt accomplished this week as I sat at a table, and a female chaperone from another church came up and was standing, and I was as tall as she was, and she was on her feet, and I was sitting down. I thought, I was looking eye to eye. You know her, I ain't going to name her name. I was like, she's short. Unfortunately, I'm not long-legged. So all my life, I've been kind of like that hound dog. You know, hound dog, short little legs. They look like they're running 1,000 miles an hour. They really ain't getting nowhere. That's me, Heath. No, that's me. I walked in one of the kids' room at Super Summer, and the bed was this high. I'm going, how you get up there? They're like, you try. I'm like, no. No. My family always walks off. Have you met my family? They're all long-legged. We walk into Walmart. I'm going across the parking lot. I'm like, y'all go ahead. I'll be there in a minute. But it's not just since I've been married and gotten old. It's always been that way. And every day in third grade, not every day, about twice a week in third grade, we had races in the gym at Ripley Elementary School. And it wasn't really the gym, it was the gymnasium, because we were formal like that in Tipper County. So we would go to the gymnasium. We got in trouble for calling it gym. It didn't like to be called James either. But we would go to the gymnasium. You'll get that when you get home. We went to the gymnasium, and we would walk in, and we would run. And I would always try to get in the heat with all the other short-legged, vertically challenged, a little bit husky kind of group. Never would fail. Here would come Yogi. Yeah, Yogi was not the bear. Yogi was like lightning. And then we had a guy named Poochie. And Poochie, lightning. And I'm like, why don't y'all run against each other? It's too bad they run against me and a few other guys who shall remain nameless. But I remember that one day. Man, you know what I wanted more than anything? I wanted to be able to go home and tell my daddy, I want a race. And she always made us take our shoes off. I don't know why. You would think running shoes. Then a couple of us rednecks got inventive and said, well, if we run faster without shoes, we don't. We'll take our socks off. I've told you that at one point I didn't like baths, right? I just want to reiterate that at this point. So here comes the Walmart Buddy Velcros, they're off. The socks, the tube socks with the red and white stripe, sometimes red, white, and blue stripe around the top that would never stay up. Here they had come. They had holes in them anyway. One of them didn't even have a foot in it. And I lined up, and I remember it. It was spring, and it was hot. And one of my main competitors got sick because he drank chocolate milk right before gymnasium time. And I thought, you almost heard that patriotic fanfare playing as I stepped to the line. And I said, today is my day. If you won the race, you got up on the stage at the end. I was getting on that stage. It was like the top of the platform in the Olympics. I was getting that stage. I looked around. There was no Poochie. There was no Yogi. There was no Roderick. There was no Ryan. There was no anybody faster who has another name. It was just me and about 3 other kids. And I thought, today's the day. Coach McCoy. If you ever met Coach McCoy, you'd be scared of her. I'm still scared of her. She'd toot that whistle. Off we'd go. And I don't know if there was a tailwind that day or not, Chip. But I ran like I had never ran before. Barefooted. My husky rustlers up under my feet, because that's just how I rolled. One hand back here and make sure they didn't go any further. Striding. I'm going somewhere. And I won. I won. And I was just about to take my place on stage. And the bell rang. Not one to be dismayed, I jumped up on the stage. Actually, I didn't. Stage. So I ran around and up the stairs and got on the stage and went, yeah! Got 3 licks and a note home to Mama. But there was a record that day, at that time, I was the greatest of heat number 7 in PE at gymnasium. And now it was written proof. And I got home. Daddy come in from work. Daddy worked at Napa. He come in. He's like, well, I heard you had a day. I was like, yeah! I had a day. He said, go to your room. I was like, woo! Daddy's going to come. We're going to have a man-to-man talk about how he's proud of me. He loves me. He said, how many licks you get? I said, 3. He said, bend over. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? But anyway. And then he said, way to win today. You going to win tomorrow? I said, mm-mm. He said, why not? I said, Yogi be back tomorrow. But here's the thing. And I want you to get it. All I wanted was to be able to look at my dad and say, be proud of me for how I've run. Be proud of me for how I finished. Be proud that I was doing the right thing and up on the stage, which he would later point out that was the wrong thing apparently. But that's what I wanted. And y'all, more than anything, more than anything, I don't want to be the greatest pastor, the greatest Christian, the greatest anything. I don't care if we're the greatest church. I just want my Heavenly Father to be proud that we live the way that He's commanded us to live. And that is by being the least of all and by being their servant of all. So maybe today you go home. You decide 29, 4 1/4 is never going to be attainable to you. It's okay, it ain't for me either. Like, did you do 29, 4 1/2? Sure did on a bicycle. That's about all I get right there. May not ever be attainable to you, but I promise you, you please the Father. You please the Father when you're full of humility. You praise the Father. You please the Father. And we're the servant of all. It's not about whose name's written on the sign, whose name's written in the lights, whose name's in the paper, whose name's anywhere. It's about the God that we served being proud of the way we served. Stand with me, head bowed and eyes closed. Father, as we enter into this invitation time, Lord, it's so good to be in your house and, Lord, just preach your word. But God, today there's some who have never trusted in faith for your atoning work. They're lost and they need to be saved. And today, Lord, if there's anyone here who's lost, Lord, let today be the day that they trust you and repent of their sins and commit themselves to follow you. And following you, Jesus, means a lifetime of service. It doesn't always mean the glorious, the applause, the pats on the back, the attaboys. In fact, Lord, you showed us by your own life that service is costly. Service is lowly. Service is humbling. Service is messy. Service is exactly what you've called us to. So, Lord, would you help us to lose any pride or ego about ourselves? Lord, be willing to empty out our pride, our status, our name. And Lord, would you just fill us with this desire to please you by being full of humility. And also, Lord, by just simply being a servant of every person, whether they're deserving, undeserving, whether they're clean or filthy, rich or poor. Lord, just help us to serve as you have served. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Just as I am.